Hello and welcome. Today we have another RA Group webcast for you, and back due to popular demand, we have Chef Ian to show us some vegetarian summer salads. Now, don't forget to send through your questions for Ian, and it's over to you.
Thank you, Stephanie. Right, good afternoon, everyone. I hope you're all well. Today I'm going to be showing you two really delicious salads. They're both utilizing roasted vegetables. One is with broccoli, the other aubergine. Our first salad is going to be grilled broccoli. It's going to have Venus rice with it, summer tomatoes, smoked almonds, and labneh, which is a strained yogurt. The other one is grilled aubergines. We're doing that with a roast Harissa yogurt, preserved lemon, and toasted chickpeas. So as I did in the previous webcast, I'm going to do a few demonstrations of both salads, and then we'll plate the salads up afterwards, one after the other. So the first thing I'd like to show you is toasted chickpeas. So for that, we need cooked chickpeas, and we're basically going to pan fry those. So I've got a pan on which has got a medium high heat to it. We want to cook the chickpeas quite quickly. And to that, we're going to add 1 teaspoon of cumin seeds. So with toasted chickpeas, you can really add any flavor you want, really. I mean, you can go garlic, lemon, coriander seeds, garam masala. I mean, the sky's the limit, really. Cumin seeds are quite nice. It kind of lends itself to the other flavors in the salad. And they go on. And the minute they start sizzling, you're ready to add your chickpeas. So just a quick note on chickpeas. You obviously can buy cooked chickpeas in the tin. They're very, very convenient and quick to use. I personally think this is one of the things that you can really benefit from of doing it yourself. It basically involves simply soaking the chickpeas overnight in water, and then you basically boil them for 90 minutes. And once that's done, they're soft, they're delicious. I just think you get a much better flavor using fresh chickpeas. So they go in the frying pan, medium high heat, and we're just going to season those now. So as I mentioned with the previous webcast, it's quite good to have a crunch in a salad. So either croutons, or you can have nuts, toasted seeds. Chickpeas is another way of introducing a crunch into your salad. So frying pan, cumin seeds, and a little bit of salt. Even if you're making, a hummus, for example, that's really nice to have a nice big bowl of hummus, some olive oil on top, and then sorry, I lost my train of thought. Hummus, olive oil, and the crispy chickpeas on top of that. Really, really lovely. You can also then sprinkle that with za'atar spice. So chickpeas are in the pan, and they are frying with those cumin seeds. That cumin seeds are going to give the chickpeas a lovely flavor. And what you kind of want with the chickpeas is you want a really gorgeous, crispy, golden exterior, and then you still got a nice soft interior. So you've got it soft on the inside and crunchy on the outside. A little bit like a roast potato, actually. That sort of idea. Well, it's like a mini roast potato. So you fry those. While those are cooking, I'm going to move on to my next step, which is the aubergines. So aubergines, definitely one of my most favorite vegetables. To roast these, you need a fair amount of oil. So we're going to just chop the aubergines. We then leave the skins on always, in half, into quarters, like that. And then I'm going to cut them on the angle. So they look something like that. And what that does do is these corner pieces get nicely charred, and the rest of it gets golden brown. And obviously the inside is lovely, soft and molten. So as I said, with aubergines, they do tend to absorb quite a lot of oil. So not the most low-fat option to cooking aubergines, but I think it's nice and indulgent. It's delicious in a salad, so it's well worth it. So got 2 aubergines there, cutting those on the angle. I'm going to give my chickpeas a little toss. These won't take long at all, 5 minutes. You'll have a nice golden exterior. So you take a large bowl, and one thing I'd just like to mention with roasting aubergines is that as opposed to putting them on a tray and then sprinkling them with olive oil, It's far better popping them in a bowl and then getting a generous amount of olive oil on top and mixing them very well so the whole aubergine is coated with the olive oil. So a bit of olive oil. I say a bit. I put in the recipe 80 milliliters, which sounds like quite a lot, probably because it is a lot, but you definitely benefit from that amount of oil. Then of course you've got some salt on there. My chickpeas are looking great, nearly ready. And then a roasting tray. So just with the roasting of vegetables, I tend to use a shallow roasting tray. I think that the heat penetrates the veg a lot better. So instead of getting the deep ones, a nice shallow one will do.
So Ian, can you just explain why you're using olive oil for that?
Yes, certainly. Look, I mean, you could probably get away with using rapeseed or a vegetable oil. I think definitely not an extra virgin olive oil, but I just think, I think an olive oil tastes nicer. It doesn't have to be a pricey one, it can be a relatively cheap one. But I just prefer that in flavor to a rapeseed oil. And I just think also, if you compare it, for example, to a vegetable oil or sunflower oil, I think it has a better flavor using olive. So those are my aubergines. These are going to go in the oven now. Very important, 220 degrees for 20 minutes. And what that's going to do, that's going to give them a really, really nice dark caramelized color and flavor. And you almost want to get them to the stage where you take them out the oven and someone comes into the kitchen and says, oh, I think you've burnt those. And actually you're not. You're going to have charred ends, which are dark. You'll have a golden caramelized flesh, and then they'll be lovely and soft inside. So definitely take them quite dark, but I'll show you when they come out the oven. So 220 degrees, 20 minutes. My chickpeas are just about ready. So what I'm going to do with those, I'm going to just finish them off with a little bit of chili flakes. I'm using Aleppo chili, but you can use cayenne pepper as well. Just a half teaspoon of that. Give them a good toss. They're smelling delicious. And just allow those to cool. It's very important with these chickpeas that they're served at room temperature or slightly warm as opposed to cold, because when they sort of cool down and put in the fridge, they kind of go soft again. But what you're looking for is that crispy exterior and that soft squidgy inside. So they're going to go off the stove now. And then the next thing I want to do is broccoli. So broccoli is one of those things you don't really get to see broccoli oven roasted very often. It's more kind of your traditional butternut squash, onions, peppers, courgettes, that sort of thing. But broccoli for me is delicious roasted. It's even better if you can pop it on the barbecue. I tend to blanch these literally for 2 seconds just to break the fibers down and get them going. But yeah, you want to rapidly boiling water and literally bring them back to the boil, take them off. So broccoli goes in. Some salt and a bit of olive oil. You've noticed I've used slightly less olive oil. I don't think you need as much with broccoli. And a good mix. Like I say, it's always preferable to put these in a bowl, get them nicely coated. Everything gets a nice coating. Everything gets beautifully seasoned.
Ian, I have a question.
Yes.
So if you were to not use broccoli or aubergine for roasting, so that you wouldn't have the oil maybe, are there any raw vegetables that you would put in, maybe shaved?
Oh, absolutely. Cauliflower's a great one. Shaved cauliflower's lovely. Courgettes, delicious as well. I mean, to be fair, broccoli, if you put broccoli on a microplane, that's quite nice as well, because you get the top floret parts sort of breaking down and you've got the stem that's sliced. So it looks really attractive as well. But raw veg, absolutely, yeah. So the thing with broccoli is it needs to cook really, really quickly. So either I said on a hot barbecue or in your oven. I put the oven on as high as it can go, so 250 degrees. I've then added the grill feature, and I'm going to cook these for no more than 8 minutes. What you don't want is then to start baking. Obviously, vegetables, broccoli included, have quite a high water content. If your oven is not really, really warm, it can steam, and they can they'll obviously change color anyway. But what you don't want is to get kind of this sort of, this pale greeny brown color. So in the oven, 8 minutes, 250 degrees, and I pop the grill as well. And what you will then find is the tops of these florets will start to get nicely charred and taste crispy. and then the stems get nice and tender. It's a really, really good combination. So in the oven, it's at 8 minutes. So the next thing we're going to be using is a grain in the salad, and we're going to be using Venus rice. So Venus rice is an Italian rice. I'm going to show you the bag. This is available online from Bella Zoo. You'll see a lot of Bella Zoo products today. It is a really, really lovely rice. It's nice and nutty. It's got a good flavor to it. It's quite forgiving. I cooked this for 45 minutes. It's quite difficult to actually overcook this rice. It's not like basmati, which is a polished rice that kind of breaks down. It still keeps its structure and grain. And as I say, it's just got a really, really nice flavor. Obviously, it's kind of got like a burgundy finish once you've boiled it. And it looks quite dramatic on a salad and delicious. So Venus rice, there are about 100 grams there. To that, I'm going to add some date molasses. Once again, this is a Bella Zoo product, but you can get this online from most Middle Eastern suppliers. So about a tablespoon of date molasses. To that, we're adding some pomegranate molasses. Once again, one of my favorite ingredients, a tablespoon as well. So with the flavor balance, you've got the pomegranate molasses, which is kind of sweet and sour. I've just added some date molasses, which is sweet, and I'm going to offset that with the juice of half a lemon.
So Ian, yes. We obviously use Bella Zoo products a lot at work. Can you explain to people who are maybe not familiar with their products why you use them?
Well, to be honest, I've always told the rep at Bella Zoo, if I was 20 years younger, I would definitely apply for a job there as a rep, because I think their products are absolutely amazing. The first thing is the quality is absolutely amazing. They're always, whatever you go, if you go for Rose Harissa, their Rose Harissa is a country mile better than any other Harissa I've seen in the market. Their olive oils, I think the way they source their products, just everything about them, they kind of stand out head and shoulders above in regards to quality. And you get a lot of unique different bits and pieces from them. So for example, you know, the Venus rice, the Rose Harissa, I'm used to using preserved lemons today. They've got a nice range of items, not too big, but generally whatever you get from them always tastes amazing, really, really good. So getting back to the rice, we've got date molasses, pomegranate molasses, the juice of half a lemon. I have boiled the rice in a bit of salt, but I'm going to add a little bit more salt to that, a little bit of olive oil, probably about 2 tablespoons. And I like to use a nice quality olive oil for that, because I do feel you will taste it. And then some spring onions that have been finely cut. I think spring onions are great in a salad. They're obviously a lot more subtle than a regular onion. And then you want to just give that a really, really good mix.
So Ian, we have Luxie online.
Yes.
She's asking if you don't have molasses, what could you substitute it with for the flavor?
Good question. I think you probably could use balsamic vinegar. It's similar, you've got that kind of sweet and sour aspect to it. Yeah, I would say balsamic vinegar for sure. You can actually get pomegranate molasses now. I've seen it at Waitrose, the Waitrose brand. I'm just going to have a quickly taste it for check for seasoning. That's delicious. I mean, that as an accompaniment to a bit of grilled meat, it's delicious.
Perfect. And if people struggle to get hold of Venus rice, what would you substitute that with?
Okay, so you could use wild rice. You could use brown rice. You could even use basmati rice, regular short grain rice. That would all be fine. As I said, the Venus rice, lovely flavor, and of course the color is quite dramatic. So the next thing you want to do is to make the Harissa dressing. So this could not be easier. And the Harissa dressing, I'll just show you the pot just for reference. That's it over there, Rose Harissa. This is a really, really delicious ingredient. This you can literally put, if I say put on anything, it works beautifully with chicken. It's lovely on vegetables. You can pop that in a dressing, in a soup, in a stew. There's just so much flavor packed into this. Yeah, I mean, it's a really, really is a good product. So for the dressing, it couldn't be easier. I've just got the, I've put some Greek yogurt in here. I'm going to add to that 2 teaspoons of the Harissa. So the Harissa itself is quite punchy, quite fiery. It's not too hot, but there is obviously a chili element to Rose Harissa. That gets stirred in. I'm also going to add to that a pinch of salt. And then what we really want to do with this is to make this into a dressing that it can coat the aubergine. So I'm going to let this out now with a little bit of milk. And what you want is you want to just pour off the spoon. You can use water if you want, but what you don't want is you don't want a thick sort of globby consistency. You want it quite nice and runny. So I'm going to mix that in, and that's simply, that in itself is ready to go. And as I said, that if you can pop a couple of chicken pieces in this dressing, leave it overnight. Chicken on the barbecue in the oven, absolutely brilliant. A really, really tasty meal. And that's it, simple as. So that's the roast Harissa dressing, and the consistency is probably about right now. If you want a slightly stronger, a bit more of a fiery hit, you can add a bit more roast Harissa, but it's got a lovely color to it, and you'll see when you plates up the consistency and the color. Right, the last thing I'd like to discuss today is labneh. So sort of grab that from the fridge. So labneh, in fact, it already is. It's just basically strained yogurt. So you get a bit of some muslin cloth. I've used a J cloth, and you basically put it into the cloth, tie a piece of string around it, and you hang it in your fridge, or you can put it in a conical strainer overnight. And what you get as an end result, I'm just going to hold it up, is the whey obviously falls away, if you pardon the pun. And you're left with this really thick, dense yogurt, very rich in flavor. I'm just going to hold it up so you can see can almost stand by itself. It's almost like a paste. And labneh for me, it's absolutely delicious. I mean, that for breakfast, that onto a piece of char-grilled sourdough bread. I know I mentioned sourdough bread. You'll see I'm a big fan of sourdough. But that on sourdough bread with some lovely honey, some manuka honey, absolutely delicious. And that's going to add a creamy element to the broccoli. So I've got about 10 more seconds left on the broccoli. I'm going to grab that out the oven, and I'll show you what that looks like. So it's sizzling away. I'm just going to hold it up to the screen. You're going to see, once again, you'll be forgiven for thinking that's slightly burned, but you've got charred bits over there. You've got the stalk that's still quite green, and that's lovely. So with that said, we've basically finished all our preparations, and we're now going to assemble the salads.
So Ian, these two salads are obviously vegetarian. What proteins would you add to these?
Then I think you could probably, you could probably add fish, some lovely mackerel. You could add, sorry, 1 minute. You could probably add some grilled chicken, would be lovely. Some carpaccio of beef would be delicious. Bresaola, anything like that. Salami, really anything, any protein. I suppose chicken would go quite well with the roast Harissa. So yeah, pretty much any protein you fancy. Something nice that's cold, like a nice cold cut. Okay. So the first salad, can everyone see that? Perfect. I remember last week I was kind of plating up like that, which wasn't helpful. I'll remember today not to do that. The aubergines, of course, if you had noticed the cooking time, we have got a bit of a blue Peter moment here. So the aubergines, I cooked this batch off earlier. And what I'd like to show you is, I'll hold it up to the camera as your aubergine. So you can see kind of got golden brown pieces there. The ends have got nice and charred and crispy. And that is a beautiful thing to eat, just as it is like that. So layering of the salads, as I said with the previous tutorial, you want to plate up a salad that everybody gets every element of that salad from the first portion served to the very last. So aubergines go down just on the plate. I've got 3 aubergines here. You could probably serve 4 people if this was the only salad. And obviously, really just like that, they're looking very dramatic. So what I do now is I just hold back a few aubergines, because of course we're going to garnish this up now, and we're going to cover up most of the aubergines with the dressing. So just like that, the first thing that's going to go on there after the aubergines is our dressing. So that's the dressing there. I'm actually going to add just a touch more milk, just so it's a little bit more runnier. Let's give that a good stir. Right, so once again, just make sure it's quite a punchy dressing, but you've got a nice even distribution of your dressing on the plate. There we go. And then we're going to be adding some parsley. So what I've done with the parsley, I've chopped the stalks down. I suppose a lot of people debate whether you should eat the parsley stalks. I think they're delicious. If it's fresh parsley, they're crunchy, they're succulent, full of flavor, really, really nice. And then over to the chickpeas. I'm just going to grab the chickpeas from the frying pan. So you can hear that rattle. They're still nice and crunchy, really, really nice. Let's get popped on. I mean, these are lovely just as a snack, you know, if you're having a beer, really, really nice. And then to finish off, some preserved lemon. So once again, another better zoo product. I love preserved lemon. We've basically quartered these. We've cut the flesh out, and we just cut these into thin strips, and they automatically add a beautiful flavor profile to your salad. And it works very well with Rosa Harissa. You don't want too much. There we go. And then I'm going to add, just because we can, a little bit of some rose petals. And they kind of sync with the Rosa Harissa. And then also going to add to that a few sprigs of parsley just to brighten up the salad.
Ian, we have a question here.
Yeah.
What 3 ingredients are essential to make an awesome salad?
Ooh. 3. Now, you do know we did say the sweet, sour, salty, bitter crunch last week. That's 5. I've got to choose the best 3. Well, I think it's so difficult to say. I think definitely a vegetable. But before I answer that question, I wanted to show you. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just adding what I guess you can probably call them an accent piece, just a few pieces of aubergine at the very end. It kind of just lifts the salad. So that's my salad number 1. So 3 ingredients. You obviously have to have a dressing. You could say a leaf. You probably need a leaf. And then 3rd ingredient. Ooh. I'll probably then say like another element, like another non-veg element, like a crunch, probably. If I'm limited to 3, which is quite a tough ask for me. That's obviously got about 7 ingredients on there. But yeah, I would say a leaf, a dressing, and a crunch. Okay, so now onto the broccoli salad.
Mr. Hugh.
Sorry.
Can you just lift that salad up? Yeah.
Yes, certainly. So there we go. I'll just recap the ingredients. So we've got, in fact, I'm going to see if that's better, color-wise. Is that better? Yeah. So basically, you've got the aubergine, we've got the Rosa Harissa dressing, crunchy chickpeas, preserved lemon, and I finished up with parsley and the rose petals. Okay, cool, perfect. So for the second salad, I've got broccoli. This broccoli, you can now, if you wanted to, cut that down into smaller pieces. I quite like the large chunks for the salad. The broccoli goes on the plate, and there's already a bit of olive oil on here from roasting, so this doesn't need to have to be dressed again. There we go. I think that's probably enough. I'm waiting for time, 6 minutes. A bit of a race against the clock, isn't it? So broccoli's down, and then I'm popping I think we'll pop the Venus rice on next. So this just gets popped on in and around the salad. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about the tomato element. This salad will be delicious with sort of some lovely sun-dried tomatoes, but this is obviously the best season for tomatoes at the moment. If you can get them on the vine, you generally get what you pay for with tomatoes, I think. You know, sometimes you can buy some cherry tomatoes for £1. You pay slightly more and you get a really, really good quality tomato. So these are delicious tomatoes that we're going to just add. And I'm not going to do anything to these. Well, they're sweet, they're succulent, They're really, really lovely. So I'm just going to pop those on there like that. And then our last element. Sun-dried tomatoes would be nice. You could probably add some roasted peppers. I just think this time of year, these tomatoes are great. And I don't think you need to do anything. I think if they're sweet, maybe a little bit of salt, but I've been quite salt heavy today, so I think that's fine. And then the labna. The labna, you could probably also, you could roll the labna in things like chopped nuts. You could roll them in, I guess you can roll them in toasted seeds, roll them in a very mild chili, which would be good. Labna is lovely, really, really nice. Nice sort of creamy element to the salad. So this is kind of different, is that it's not actually dressed per se with the dressing. You've got a lovely flavor with the on the rice, and then everything else together is tasty. So one more element to that, actually, there's probably two more elements. The other thing I'm going to add to that is smoked almonds. Once again, smoked almonds, this is a Better Zoo product, but there you've got your crunch straight away. Smoked almonds, really, really delicious. You obviously got a crunch, but you've also got that smoked element to it, which is great. And then last but not least, because we can, I'm going to add some spring onions. So we've got spring onions in the rice, but I'm adding additional spring onions onto that, and then I'm going to just add a little bit of olive oil. We've obviously got the broccoli dressed. This is a bit of extra virgin olive oil on top of the salad like that, and that is the salad with 3 minutes to go. So I'm going to hold that up. There we go. So grilled broccoli done in the oven or on the barbecue, amazing. Venus rice dressed with pomegranate molasses and date molasses, lemon juice, spring onions. You've got tomatoes, labna, smoked almonds, and then I've just a little bit of extra virgin olive oil on top of it, and that is that.
Looks amazing, Ian. Good job.
There we go. Thank you very much. Any other questions? We've got 2 more minutes. Any questions? No?
No, I think we're all good.
Excellent.
Oh,
Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed that. Yeah, I mean, these will be beautiful eaten on their own or as an accompaniment to a barbecue. So yeah, happy days, happy cooking.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Ian. Absolutely fantastic. That's all from us today. And I cannot wait to try these out when the weather gets a little bit better, that's for sure. We do hope you'll join us next time. Meanwhile, for more information about our program of discussions, please go to RA Group's website at www.ragroup.co.uk/news to download the broadcast links. Meanwhile, if you have any questions or suggestions about how you can get involved, please do email gavin.goody@ragroup.co.uk. Have a fantastic afternoon, and we'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place.